Throughout spring of 2020, I was in a dark part of my life. I coped by going on a lot of adventures, which was great, except for an adventure along the railroad tracks, which took a turn for the worst. Before we get to the full story, I just want to say hello. Okay, let's get into it.
I'm off on the adventure.
The year was 2020, and COVID had just started, which sucked. I was addicted, lonely, and looking for a purpose. To distract from what seemed like a never-ending cycle of sadness, I would spend a lot of time outdoors. I really enjoyed mountain biking. I would spend like every day hanging out with my friend, going on bike rides, building little dirt jumps, just having a fun time. But eventually, I got tired of doing the same thing every day with my friend and decided to explore the area. I started by searching the neighborhood, and eventually, at the bottom of my neighborhood, I found a railroad track. I decided, you know what, I might as well just go along the tracks and see what I can find. So one evening, I decided to begin my journey and started to bike along the tracks as far as I could. I remember avoiding goat heads, looking at the pretty sky, and just having a fun time. And eventually, after riding along the track for maybe 20 minutes, I did find something. It was a little bike jump, and I rode it for about 20-30 minutes, and then I decided it was time for something new. I remember that there was a big bridge going over a busy highway that I could go check out at the end of the railroad. So I decided that's what I was gonna go do. After maybe 5 more minutes of riding along the tracks, I found something. Looking down to my right in a little ditch, I saw a huge concrete pipe. It was probably as wide as I was tall. And this is when I decided to go check it out. It wasn't anything special though, it was just covered in prickly barbed wire, so I decided not to mess around and get back on the tracks and continue towards the highway. I remember turning the corner and finally seeing the bridge that I was heading towards when I looked down at the ground and saw some super pretty lavender flowers. Then I looked up and the sky was just beautiful. That's besides the point though. I continued towards the bridge. And as I was getting closer, I heard my phone go off. It was a text from my mom. Looking down at my phone, I saw that she had told me that I needed to get home ASAP because it was getting dark. Then I looked up at the sky and saw that the sun was setting rapidly. My mom then called me and she was like, dude, you need to get home really soon. There's a super busy road that you're gonna have to cross on your way back home. I do not want you getting hit by a car. And I was like, okay, I'll come home. I'll come home. So I turned around disappointed and started following my tracks back towards the house. This went well for a little bit until I remembered something. Earlier that day, I had promised my Nana that I would help research mountain bike shoes that she was gonna buy me that night. I really didn't want to disappoint my Nana, so looking down at my tattered shoes, I realized, yeah, this is something I had to do now. So I set my bike down, pulled my phone out, and sat down on the railroad tracks. I sat there for maybe 10 minutes researching shoes to buy until something awful happened. Looking up from my phone, I noticed that the sky was much darker than it was 10 minutes ago, and then looking down at the trail, I saw a lady. And at first, it seemed like a totally normal and harmless situation until I looked to her side and saw that she had dogs. Without leashes. For what comes next, I'll refer to the mystery lady as Amy. The second her little ankle biters made eye contact with me, they charged. The attack began with a flurry of nibbles targeted at my legs. Luckily, I was wearing sweatpants. Then the attack ended. Amy made sure I was okay, so I checked my body for wounds, didn't find anything, then Amy dipped. Then I left. Thank you so much for watching my first ever story. If you enjoyed, subscribe, like the video, all that. I really want to get to know you, so comment what your favorite hobby is below. Okay, I love you. Goodbye.